Hello, I welcome you to today's lesson. My name is Paul Williams. So for today we have science. Yes, we have science. Science for basic 6. So if you are in basic 6, we have lesson today. Pay attention. Those who are not in basic 6, pay attention because this lesson is very important. What do you have today? Our topic for today is the life cycle of okra or maize plants. I'm taking it again. The life cycle of okra or maize plants. So today's lesson is about life cycle of plants, but we are going to look at okra and maize. These are the two plants that today we are going to look at. Human beings, from the day our mothers will deliver us or give birth to us, we go through so many stages. Animals too go through so many stages. Plants also go through so many stages. Today we are going to look at the stages that plants go through, but our focus is on okra and maize. So the life cycle of okra, the life cycle of maize, that's what today we are going to look at. I hope you know what an okra is. You don't know okra? Okra is okra, yes, we call it okra. So if you say okra, you are not wrong. So don't be confused and don't be thinking about something different. The okra that we use, I know you like banku. What do we use to prepare banku? Is it not maize? So if you have your banku and your okra stew, you know what will happen. Today we are going to look at the combination, the okra plants and then the maize plants, their life cycle. Okay, now let's look at the keywords. The keywords here: germinate. So seeds germinate. Seeds what? Germinate. And do you understand the meaning of germination or germinates? Okay, so if a seed germinates, it means that the seed has developed young plants, or young plants has developed from the seed. So if you sow a seed, you put seed in the soil, after some time you will not find the seed again, but rather you see a young plant coming out from the seed. That is what we call germination or germinate. Okay, the next word is sow. To sow. Okay, this word, don't be confused with it. Tailors, seamstresses and the fashion designers, they sew, but their spelling is different from this. Theirs is E-S-E-W, but this one, to sow a seed, means to put a seed into the soil for it what? Germinate. So when you want to have maize farm, the maize the seed, you have to what? Sow it. Put it into the soil. So to sow means to put a seed into the soil so that it can what? Germinate. The next one is harvesting. So when your plants are matured, the food is ready, you go there to gather them, to come and consume or to sell them. That is what you call harvesting. Okay. We have pollination. So pollination is a process of transferring pollen from the male to the female. Pollen of a flower, for a male flower to a female flower. So I remember those days is a transfer of the anther is the transfer of pollen from the anther to the stigma, so the anther is the male part or the male flower, and then the stigma is the what? The female flower. So when the pollen from a male flower is transferred to the pollen of the female flower, that is what we call what? Pollination. It involves pollen, transferring pollen from one point to another point, always from the male side, that is the anther, to the female side, that is what? The stigma. Okay, then we have here viable. So if a seed is viable, it means the seed is good, the seed is healthy, the seed has no defects. Okay, so before you sow a seed, you have to make sure that the seed is viable, meaning it is good for sowing. Now, let's move on. So plants go through stages from the day of sowing or planting to the day of harvesting. This is a cycle that all plants go through, and it is called the life cycle of plants. The life cycle of plant refers to the sequence of changes it undergoes during its lifetime. So this lesson we are going to look at okra plant, we are going to look at maize plant, the sequence, the changes, the cycles or the stages that these plants go through from the day of sowing to the day of harvesting. That is what we are going to look at. Life cycle of plants. Our attention is on okra and maize. Now let's look at the life cycle of okra. So I said okra, but we have okra here. For you to understand what I'm teaching, that's why I'm using the word okra. Okra is the same as okra, don't be confused with it. Okay, so okra is planted by using the dry seed. It is sown directly into the soil or using soil beds. The okra seeds germinate into seedlings and grow into mature plants. The mature plant bear flowers. They also go through pollination and fertilization to bear fruits. These seeds or the seeds from the fruits are dried and planted again. The cycle of the okra plant then continues. So what we are saying is that if you have okra seed and you sow it into the soil, after some time germination will take place. The seed will not be there again. You will see a young seedling or you see a young plant coming out from the seed. So the young plant will come out, grow, become mature. After some time, it will start developing flowers. The flowers will also bear fruits. The fruits is what later become the seed that we enjoy. So after the seeds, after you have gone to harvest the fruits, we eat. Some of them too, we don't eat, we keep them, we dry the seed and plant it again. So the seed that we planted, we will get the fruit harvested. Later, we use the seed again from the harvested fruit, we use the seed to plant again. So you see that it's something that happens and happens again. That is why we call it cycle. That's what we call it, cycle. Okay, so let's look at the life cycle of okra. The life cycle of okra. I said okra is the same as okra, so don't be confused. Now, this diagram, let's look at it well. Let's look at this picture. I have seed here, or I can see a seed. Now the seed has gone through germination, so it has germinated. We have seedling here. The seedling is growing. We have young plants here. Same thing here. At this point, I can see flowers here. Yes. And here, I can see the fruits, the okra fruits here. Okay. So this is what we call the life cycle. From the time of sowing to the time it becomes mature for us to harvest. So it goes like this, like this up to this end. At this stage, you can harvest it, dry the leaves, dry the seeds, and use it for planting again. So you sow it, and then it will go back, come to this stage where you get fruit again. So this is what we call life cycle, the stages that it goes through. So the first stage, you sow it into the soil, it will germinate. We have seedling. The seedlings will grow to become young ones like this. Then it go to a point that here you see flowers. The flowers will develop into what? Fruits. And that is what we have here. Most of the times we use the fruit to prepare food, okra stew and okra soup. Some of them too, they are not used to prepare food. We keep them, we dry them, and then we use the seed for planting again. So this goes like that, it doesn't stop. When it gets here, you use the same seed to plant again. And this is what we call the life cycle of okra or okra. Okay, now let's read what we have here. Okra is planted by using the dry seeds. So we use the dry seeds. We don't use any part of the plant apart from the seeds. So the seeds too must be dried. Okay, so it is sown directly into the soil or using soil beds. The okra seed germinate into seedling and then grow into mature plants. So here you sow the seed directly into what? The soil. It will germinate. The seeds will what? Germinate, and it become what? Seedling. You have seedling, after some time it will mature. It will become what? A mature what? Plant. The mature plant will bear flowers. They go through pollination and fertilization to bear fruits. So when it gets to the flowering stage, that is where pollination takes place, fertilization also takes place, where the pollen from the male is transferred to the female. That is what? Pollination. And then fertilization will also take place. And after that, we have our fruits. So the flowers develop what? Fruits. The seeds from the fruits are dried and planted again. So when the fruits are matured, what we do is to harvest the fruits. After harvesting, there are two things. Either you use it to prepare food, or you keep it to sow again or to plant again. So you see, the seed will always what? Bear or grow, germinate, grow, get matured, bear flowers, and then later we have what? Fruits. The fruits will also give us seeds again. So you see, it is a continuous thing. It doesn't stop. It moves like that. So this is what we call life cycle of okra or life cycle of okra. Okay, now how long does it take after sowing? So the life cycle of okra is 8 to 10 weeks. So 8 to 10 weeks, if you sow okra seed today, expect to harvest it from the 8th week to the 10th week. Okay, now let's look at this activity. The focus of the activity is to cultivate viable seeds and care for the plant to mature. And the materials that we will need is okra seed, water, and a backyard garden. Now, how do we go about it? But before that, let's look at the notes here. Record what you see anytime you visit the garden. So make sure you visit the garden, but anytime you go there, whatever observation that you make, note it down, write it. Okay, now let's look at this, the process. The first one, sow viable okra seeds in the backyard garden. Space the seeds out 40 centimeters apart. Leave the seeds to germinate. Water the seedlings or water the germinated seeds from time to time. Control the weeds, pests, apply all the agricultural practices. Number 5, when it bears fruit, allow them to dry and harvest. The sixth one, discuss what happened in all the stages of the cycle. So after you have finished sowing, make sure whatever that you do, whatever that you observe, you record it. So after sowing them, make sure you water. After germination, you water. And then the next thing that you should do is that you should control pests, you should control weeds, you should control other things, apply fertilizers, and do things that will make the plants grow and grow well. That is the agricultural practices or cultural practices. Okay, so that is for okra. That is for okra or okra. And the spacing is 40 centimeters apart, depending on the size of your garden. If you have space, yes, you can increase the space depending on the space that you have. Okay, now let's come to the life cycle of maize. The life cycle of maize. Maize also go through different stages from the day you sow to the day that you harvest. A lot of things happen. It goes through different stages, and that is what we call the life cycle of maize. Now let's look at this picture here. So this is how it looks like. This is our maize. What do we have here? The seed. The seed is here. Here we see that the seed is germinating. Now we have seedling from the seed. The young one is here. It will get to a point that you see this. This is the tassel. The tassel. Okay. Now we have fruits. The seed, the plants will bear fruits. When the fruits are ready, they are mature. This is what we have. So at this point, you can decide to cook it. You can decide to roast it. You can decide to dry it for banku. And you can also decide to dry, store it, and then you use it for sowing the next season. Okay, so this is the life cycle. That is what maize, the stages that maize go through. The stages that maize go through. So from the seed, it goes like this, come back to the seed. That's the life cycle of maize. Okay, so it's just like the okra. It's just like the okra. Now let's read. The seeds of maize are used for planting. So for maize too, apart from the seeds, we don't use any other parts for planting. Okay, so they are sown directly into the soil. The dry seeds are used for planting and are sown in the soil. The seeds germinate into seedlings. The seedlings will grow to become mature plants and bear flowers. That is the tassels. The flowering plants undergo pollination and fertilization to develop fruit and seeds. The seeds are then harvested and dried. The dry seeds are used again to plant, and the cycle continues. So just as we look at the okra plant, the same thing happens here. The same thing happens here. So after harvesting, you decide what to do with the seed. Either to use the seed again for planting, or you use the seed for food, or any other purpose that you have. Okay, so that is the life cycle of maize. Now, let's look at something here. Conditions necessary for seed germination. So all the seeds that we have, my question is, if you sow them, will all of them germinate? Yes, that's the question. If you have a seed, you sow it, you put it into the soil. Is it compulsory? Is it automatic that it will germinate? The answer is no. Not all seeds that are sown get germinated. Some do not germinate, some do germinate. The reason is that before a seed can germinate, there are some things that needs to be there. There are some things that needs to be present. There are some things that should be available. And that is what we are going to look at. If these things are not there, there is no way the seed will germinate. So if you want to go into farming, you should understand what we are going to do. Otherwise, you sow your seed and they will not germinate. You say that you have wasted time to clear the land. You have employed people to work on the land. After sowing, the seed did not germinate. you have to understand that there are some things that needs to be there before the seed can germinate, and that is what we are going to look at. So conditions necessary for seed germination. So these conditions are necessary, they are important, they are vital. If they are not there, seeds will not germinate. If they are not there, seeds will not germinate. Even in the absence of one, it will be very difficult for germination to take place. Now let's look at them. The first one, viable seed. I explained to you that viable seeds are seeds that are healthy, seeds that are not attacked by weevils, seeds that are not broken. So if the seeds are viable, it means it is good, it is healthy. If you sow it with other conditions present, the seed will germinate. The second one that needs to be there is water or moisture. An amount of air should be there. It needs an amount of water before germination can take place. So if you sow a seed, the soil needs an amount of what? The seed needs an amount of water in the soil. So there should be an amount of water in the soil that the seed will need for germination. So we have seen that 1, the seed itself should be a viable one. 2, there should be what? Water. There should be water or moisture. So in the soil, there should be an amount of water or moisture in the soil. The next one is oxygen or air. You know, air is so important. The part of air, the component of air the plant needs or the seed needs is what? Oxygen. So without oxygen, there is no way plants will germinate. There should be air in the soil. Okay, the next one is suitable temperature. Suitable what? Temperature. Temperature, we are talking about how hot or how cold. So where you have sown the seed, if that place is very hot, the seed itself will die. So germination will not take place. So what we are saying is that the temperature where the seed is sown, the temperature should be a suitable one. So these are the 4 things that you need to understand, that they are very important, and without them, germination will not take place. Without them, seeds will not germinate. So 1, viable seed. If you want to go into maize farming, the seeds that you use, please don't roast it before you sow. Don't roast it. Don't boil it before you sow. Use the natural dried one and check the ones that are not attacked by weevils. Check the ones that are not broken. Check the ones that are good, healthy. That is viable seed. The next one is that there should be an amount of water in the soil. Third one, oxygen or air. And then the last one, suitable temperature. Suitable temperature. Okay, so now after you have finished sowing, you've sown your seed, the seed is now germinating. What will you do from that time to the time that you harvest it? That is what we mean by cultural practices. Cultural practices. From the day you sow the seed to the day you harvest it, what are the things, the activities that you have to do to make sure that the seed will not die? Sorry, the seed that has been germinated, the plant will not die, but rather it will thrive, bear fruits for you to enjoy. So that is what we call cultural practices. Cultural practices. Now let's look at the things that we will do under cultural practice. 1, weeding. Weeding. So we need to weed. We need to clear the weeds that will compete with the plants. They will be competing for nutrients in the soil, water, sunlight, and the rest. We need to clear all the plants that are not needed. The weeds, we need to clear them. So the first one is weeding. If you look at the man here, so you see the maize is here, and he's weeding, cutting or getting rid of plants that are not needed. Okay. The next one is watering. You see, watering. Now, we have watering can, water coming out of it, and we have our tomato here. So plant need water to grow, so you need to also water it. So watering is another cultural practice. Let's come to this side. Pruning. So pruning is cutting parts that are not good, parts that are not healthy, parts that are attacked by insects, pests, and other things. Okay, so here you cut or you prune it, get some parts out, and when you prune it, it allows aeration, so air is able to pass through, and it helps the plant to grow and grow well. So another cultural practice. The next one that we have is fertilization. You need to apply fertilizer to the soil to make the soil rich. Okay, so here we have artificial fertilizer. Artificial fertilizer, inorganic one. The organic ones are the natural ones. Okay, so that is that. Let's come to this side. You need to also control the pest. So if you look at the man, what is he doing? He's spraying what? The farm. Here, the chemical that he's spraying, he's using, the chemicals will kill all pests that are attacking the plants. So you have to control pests. You have to control pests. Okay. I think these are the cultural practices that we need to know anytime we go into farming. 1, we have to weed. 2, we have to water the plants, we have to prune the plants, we have to fertilize the soil, and then we need to control what? Pests. So if you finish sowing, these things are there, make sure you do all of them. And if you are able to do all these, the plants will grow and bear more fruit for you. Okay, so we are coming to the end of the lesson. We have learned that plants go through stages. Plants go through stages. They have their life cycle. From the day they are sown or planted to the day they are harvested. We have seen that okra or okra is a plant. It goes through that stages. We have also seen that maize is a plant. It also goes through what? That stages. We have seen conditions that are necessary for germination. So these things are things that the seed need or germinate. It should be there for germination to what? To happen. So conditions that are necessary for seed to germinate. We have seen the seed itself. We said the seed should be viable. 2, there should be what? Air. There should be air. And then water. The last one that we said is suitable temperature. So if all these things are there, the seed will germinate. Now, after germination has taken place, we need to what? Do these things. The things that I'm talking about. I mean the cultural practices where you control the weeds by weeding. You fertilize the soil, you water the plants, we will prune, and then you control the pests. So these are the things that we can do after we have finished sowing and the seed has germinated. If you're able to do all these things, you will have what? Good yield. So that is what we have learned today. If you grow and you want to go into farming, there is money in farming. Make sure you do the right thing. If you do the right thing, you'll be surprised how much you get from farming. Yes, apart from the normal job that you do, you can also go into farming. Crop farming, animal farming, and other forms of farming, they are all there. They fetch money, they will give you money. So this is what we have learned. If nothing at all, today you have seen things that should be there before germination can take place. That is the necessary conditions for germination. There are 4. You have seen that seeds of maize are used for planting. Seeds of okra are also used for what? Planting. That is what we have learned today. And plants too, they go through cycle stages from germination to seedling, mature, flowering, pollination and fertilization will take place. Then we have our fruits. So these are the things that today we have learned. Now let's look at exercises. Exercise 1 is here, exercise 2, exercise 3, and then we have home assignment 1 and home assignment 2. So these are the things that we have learned today. I expect that you take your time to read the book. Read the book, watch the video again. If you don't understand anything, you can call for further clarification. Your parents and your teachers are there. Go to them, they will help you. Our videos are on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. If you need copies of our book, call the number. We have Asante tree, we have a Krapim tree, and then we have science. We have science, all from basic 1 to basic 6. My name is Paul Williams. Thank you. Bye-bye.